Good morning and welcome to week 4 of NAPA's Advisor Ambassador Program. It's hard to believe we're almost done with month 4. My name is Zach Hewells and I work at the NAPA headquarters office in Falls Church. Today's speaker is Jason Carter from NAPA Texarkana. Jason was our 2016 YAT Leader of the Year and also a past YAT National Chairman. Jason will be presenting Optimize Your Time and Cash Flow today. So let's go ahead and turn things over to him. Jason, how are you today?
Well, if I was any better, I'd be a pair of twins. Mark Aker knows that for sure. Hey, good morning, everybody, and thanks for taking time out of your day to not only enrich yourself in our industry, but to hopefully learn a little bit more about why NAFA, the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, is going to be key, crucial, and critical in your career. So let's start. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about me. So I own Jason Carter Companies, which is a conglomerate of 6 businesses. Carter Insurance, which is basically our P&C or property and casualty side of everything. Vested Trust Financial, which is the securities and investment side. Carter Consulting, the Fire Up Factory, Tax Pirates, and then our health and employee benefits brokerage is called Friends with Benefits. So that's enough about me. Let's get into why we're here. If every morning the worst thing you had to do in the day, that you dreaded in the day, is you knew you had to eat a frog, would you put that off till the very end and dread it the whole day? Or would you go ahead, would you wake up, would you eat that frog first, and then move on with your day and the things you need to be doing? So there's my Princess Leia frog, so you can remember that when it comes to time and practice management, the most important thing to do every morning is to figure out what the hardest thing to do is every day, and to go ahead and eat that frog. Now, Abraham Lincoln once said if he had 6 hours to chop down a tree, he'd spend the first 4 hours sharpening his axe. I think that is supremely applicable to practice or time management, and also to managing cash flow, keeping open what you need and learning to make yourself your number one client and reinvest in what you're doing. So the $1 Million Roundtable has a 20-point system. And I think we're going to start there. So the 20-point system is very simple. You give yourself points based on your actions. Just like eating that frog, your favorite action may not be having to obtain a referral. That might be your frog. That's fine. Wake up and eat it, and start doing the things that you're going to need to do to get the business in, to fill your funnel, and to get nice drips coming out of your pipeline. So the idea is that no one day is enough. If I earned 1,000 points yesterday with a massive close and we closed a ton of business and everything's just looking great, that doesn't mean I get to take today off. Yesterday is yesterday. I still have to be consistent and constant in my efforts to keep myself efficient and effective in my business. And that means every single day I have to hold myself accountable to a 20-point system. That's on getting referrals, that's on openings, that's on setting meetings with a prospect or a current client, but maybe we're gonna do a review or something like that. We'll get into that a little bit later on annual reviews and how you can kind of go back through and replow through your client list and find some true gold in there. Closing interviews, and then of course every sale is 5 points. So let's say I have 4 sales in one day. I made 20 points. That's a great day. But that may not be enough to make sure I'm going to have those 4 sales the next day, and the next day, and the next day. The 20-point system is a minimum operating rubric. It's not a maximum. And remember, every single day we go back to this. So thanks to old G. Carey from MDRT for giving this to us. If you use this, here in a little bit, I'll be talking to you about how we manage our time. We use an associate's planner. And in this associate's planner, on one of the pages, it actually has an accountability piece for every advisor to tell us what they did every single day and how they earned their 20 points. That's become instrumental in our success, because if one advisor is telling the whole group at the conference table, hey, you know, I went to this one networking event and I actually got more than 20 points just yesterday evening, having a quick cocktail and a little bit of hors d'oeuvres, that might spur the next advisor to do the exact same thing and to maybe get discussion going, because we're so much better when we're together. Another reason to be a part of NAFA, right? You don't want to be on your own. You want to be able to do what you want on your own, but you can't be successful unless you have the strength and the support of a team. And of course, if you're an independent individual, you know, NAFA is really going to be the key there. I got the 20-point system, like I said, from MDRT. I would have never learned about MDRT or started paying attention to it had I not been a member of NAFA. So a lot of my success I really give to NAFA. I never would have made it had I not started learning these things. And again, a lot of this stuff is commonplace knowledge to NAFA members. Brendan Bouchard, he said, your phone, everything is a matter of time. Your phone notifications or inbox is nothing but convenient or a convenient organizing system of other people's agenda. In other words, don't make yourself a slave to technology. Don't engage in indentured servitude to a cell phone. We have to learn to time block, and that's what we're going to get into next when we start talking about our time management and our practice management. There are lots of systems out there, and I encourage you to research them and to look into what is going to fit you best. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a 6-point system on kind of how time blocking works, and that might help you find if you're going to use Calendly, or you're going to, everybody's got an Apple and you're going to use your Apple Calendar, whatever you're going to do to get started. And then, of course, like anything else, there's no such thing as perfect. There's good to great, as Jim Collins said. So we're always trying to improve our systems here. And I hope that once you get some systems in place for your time and practice management, that you're constantly trying to improve them. Technology is a wonderful thing. And there's a lot of stuff out there now that's for free. As a matter of fact, if you go to www.nafa.org, did you know that there's actually a whole section on how to help you do this? So I would definitely be using that NAFA website. This is how to time block. We're just going to go over it real quick, that time blocking is an effective strategy for using your time wisely and achieving greater productivity. I don't think you need a PowerPoint read to you. So we're not going to do death by PowerPoint. Let's get into the meat of the matter of the overall idea of time blocking. We're human and we're imperfect. And if we can put some things into our practices that help us kind of stay within the lines and not get involved in what is called scope creep. Scope creep is when, if I'm working on a case for a client and someone, say, comes into my office and they ask me a question, I get lost in that answer for 30 minutes. Well, I've lost time. And the other thing is I've lost my focus. And that's what scope creep is. It's allowing yourself to get distracted to a degree that it actually starts to hinder your productivity. Time blocking is a wonderful tool to fight against our natural humanistic instinct for scope creep. There's 6 steps that are kind of basic guidelines to blocking our time. Number 1, and you'll hear this used many different ways. If you were reading anything by Dr. Covey, he would tell you to put things in corners 1 through 4. You know, important and urgent, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and then not urgent and not important. And that you would call that routine. So what we're constantly trying to do with time blocking is to create a routine. The human body is made for it. And you may as well enjoy the fact that you do need sleep, you do need food, you do need exercise, you do need some things. And in your business practice, you need the exact same stuff. You need a routine to keep yourself able to produce and to also have the time to enjoy it. Now, I do want to add one caveat before I continue with time blocking in business. In practice and in time management, you have to have a work and a life balance. I did not say work. I said work and life balance. There's no reason to work hard, make so many successes in this industry, and this is a very, very, very lucrative industry, and not take the personal time or the family time or the spiritual time, that life, you work to live. Please don't misunderstand me. Do not live to work. And if you time block, it makes it a lot easier. So when you identify your high priority tasks and you start to figure out those projects and those tasks, you're going to understand what's most important. And we need to work in the things that are most important. Sometimes that may be where you have to start understanding delegation and trust and your own strengths and weaknesses. But there's a great class for that I'll tell you about later called Lily. You're going to have to block out time for specific tasks. So I know that I'm not going to check my email every time my phone buzzes. I'm not going to check my text messages every time my phone buzzes. Here in my personal office, my phone stays on the other side of the room. I don't need it right here with me. I have my schedule ready. I took the time yesterday evening to get my schedule for today done. And that's kind of when you need to do it. Remember, Noah built the ark before the storm. He ended up okay, didn't he? So really, if you take the time before the day to plan the next day, you'll be okay. Use a visual tool to block time. Like I mentioned, there's Calendly. There's tons of different apps out there you can put on your phone to give you little reminders that you need to be getting ready 15 minutes before you need to walk out the door to make that client appointment. Or also, I like to use the notes section on my app. I've got certain clients that prefer, say, hot tea over hot coffee. Some of them prefer, in the winter, hot chocolate. So I make sure that stuff's kind of ready to go, and it's set out by my Keurig up in my front of my office building. Schedule breaks. Life is not 24/7, 365 work. Simple things like a bio break, well, your body's going to tell you when you need that. But you also need a brain break. Do a little exercise and write down the things every morning before you start your day that you got on your mind. Maybe I could have handled something better the day before, and I need to revisit that. It could be, an apology. It could be a attaboy or an attagirl. It could be anything that I need to kind of follow up on. I can kind of handle those things inside my breaks too, and it's going to help my productivity throughout the day. I also like to take breaks and just kind of walk from office to office up here and visit with people when I know that they're not busy. One thing I will tell you about your breaks, though, a lunch is not a break. There's no such thing as a lunch break. I have not and will not have lunch by myself. I believe I can use that time to either strengthen my relationship inside my office network, if it's with a coworker or an employee or an associate or whatever, or I can use that time to prospect, and I can invite that desired client, that business owner, that person that I really want to spend time with, invite them to lunch, say, hey, let's go have lunch together on me, or I'm going to go to Rotary. Have you ever been? Let's go to Rotary, and then you can get a conversation going about what it is that you do. But breaks do need to be scheduled, so you remember to take time. Take time for you. You're your most important asset in your business. Treat yourself that way. Limit activities that interfere with your time-blocked goals. That could be, a lot of times I've seen people that always want to check Facebook, that kind of stuff. It can usually be a cell phone involved deal or an iPad involved deal or something like that. Or it could be that you allow yourself to take phone calls and you have your ringer turned on, instead of having someone else answer your phone and take your messages, and then you block the time to call back. So I like to do that with text messages, emails, and of course, phone calls. There's no reason for me to lose my focus and keep me from being at my best by just picking up a phone because it rang. So there's no such thing as a phone ringer here in my personal office. And then I'll check my messages and make sure that those activities, they're not limiting what I really need to be accomplishing. And find a quiet workspace. Where if you work from home, which some people, that's how I started, I'm sure you can accomplish that. The problem is Netflix gets in the way, or, reading that morning paper might get in the way, or you're just taking a little bit longer to get up and get moving. That may not help you. So you might want to get out and get somewhere. Now, if you work in an office setting, like I do now, remember that this is not your fraternity house. You're not here to play around. You're here to enjoy your time with your coworkers, but you're really here to work. And most people, they don't work as much as they say they do. You'll learn later in your career that if you want to keep the level of success that you will attain, you have to continue to be consistent and constant with your efforts, and not just say, hey, I've got enough in the bank, I've got great renewals and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do as much as I did. That doesn't work. When you're at the office, you have to understand that. So you've got to have a quiet space. Some people do better with a little bit of music in the background. Some people don't. My office is as quiet as it can be when I'm working because I don't want to mess up on a financial plan. This deals with not only people's lives, but sometimes their legacies and also their ability to take all their worries off of them, put it on me, and that I'm spending the quiet, reflective time I need to work on their plan, their case, whatever it might be. So time blocking steps. Now you can go through these 6 steps and you can start making yourself all kinds of little notes about what might work for you. But these are ideas of how you might start to time block. Remember that before you leave for lunch and after you come back from lunch are great times to play catch up on calls. When you first get into the office and right before you leave the office are also great times to catch up. Now, in my home, I'm blessed to have my soulmate, Liz, and 3 little blessings named Jackson, Ellie, and Sawyer. We have a strict rule that Dad doesn't work when he's at home. Dad works when he's at the office, and Dad's not going to stay at the office all night. Remember, work-life balance is key to staying constant and consistent. You want to keep a nice, even flame and not burn out. So, Henry Ford, evidently you can tell I like to chop wood and sharpen axes. I thought he had the best follow-up quote to Abraham Lincoln's, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 4 of those hours sharpening my axe. Henry Ford said, chop your own wood and it'll warm you twice. What he means by that is do your own work that you're capable of doing, okay? In your business practice, that could be something as simple as do your own research. Don't go to what's easy. A lot of times we'll find ourselves, liking certain things and then really not, say a specific type of life insurance or a specific type of annuity. Are we staying on top of our research, though, to make sure that we know everything that's out there? Things change, rates change, policy terminology changes all the time, and you really have to chop your own wood there. You have to have the product knowledge and the product training fresh every time when you approach a case. And you're going to have to block some time out for that too. I don't want an old good standby company with a good standby product. I want to make sure that that is the most suitable product for that client. And I want to know that for sure. So chop your own wood, do your own work. Sometimes it is more work, but it is so rewarding. And again, it'll warm you twice. With that, I want to talk about that kind of that work-life balance and practice management. I'm going to give you some homework, and then we're going to talk about kind of how to plan some stuff out. What you may not know is it is a proven fact that there's no such thing as if I am this successful, then I'll be happy. No. So the brain science behind that was figured out by Dr. Shawn Achor. If you'd like to check out his TED Talk, it is excellent. It's a TEDx talk in Bloomington, and you can type in Shawn Achor, Achor. It's about a 12-minute video, and he will explain that it's proven that in order to be happy, you have to decide to be happy. There's all kinds of frustrations. Stuff's coming at you all the time, right? I mean, just when I think I've got it all figured out, I found out I have an uncle in Nigeria right now trying to give me $14 million. And I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. How am I going to put that into my day? How am I going to take care of everything I need to take care of? How am I going to make all this stuff I got to do where I'm dealing with all this anxiety, right? Work out. Well, how about just decide to be happy? So there's 5 core things you can be doing daily that we use as a 21-day challenge for everybody that comes to work up here. It starts out with just an attitude of gratitude. I'm going to go ahead and click back to that slide. At the end, I'll give you my contact information. If you want me to send you any of this stuff, I'm so happy to do so. You start with 3 gratitudes. So 3 things that you are absolutely thankful for when you wake up. Now, if I wake up every day, think about this. I wake up every day happy because I've got 3 things I'm focusing on that I'm grateful for. So an easy one for me would be Jackson, Ellie, and Sawyer, my 3 children. Well, that's great for day 1. The only specific example I'll give you is as you start going through your 21 days, you have to get more and more specific. And you're going to find out every day you can find 3 different things that you're truly grateful for, that you're truly blessed to have in your life. And one specific that I'll give you, because the rest are mine, is for a strand of golden curly hair. So my daughter, when I started doing this years ago, she twirls her hair like this with her finger, and she only does that when she talks to her dad. She says, "Daddy," and I say, "Yeah, hey Ellie, what's up, baby girl?" Well, one morning, one of my gratitudes is I wrote down a strand of golden curly hair because her hair is straight except for this one spot. She twirls, and she only does it when she talks to me. You're going to find traits about coworkers you're thankful for. You're going to find things about family members or group members, any groups you might be in that you're thankful for. And you start your day that way. Don't start your day with worry and anxiety. Start your day realizing, yes, we are all doing just fine, right? But what you got to do is you got to write that down. Every morning, write those 3 things down and then get moving with your day. Journaling is actually, I've got it listed second, but I want you to understand that's the end of your day. I want you to journal one positive thing that happened during your day. That could be, I got to talk to a friend that I hadn't talked to in a while. I got to reconnect with somebody. Or it just could be, man, that was a great case, and we closed it. It was a nice piece of business. It doesn't explain. It can be either, because you're going to find balance in your work and your personal lives, okay? You're going to write that paragraph or so at the end of the day. Then close it, close your journal, Go to bed, wake up the next day, and think of 3 things you're grateful for. The third thing is you've got to take care of yourself. Okay, so we know a healthy body promotes a healthy mind, and a lot of what we do in our industry is thinking. You have to think about how you're going to approach somebody. You have to think about how you're going to prospect to get that approach. You have to think about what it is that gives you a unique value proposition. What's your value add that you bring that no one else does? And all that thinking, you got to take care of the old body a little bit. And I'm not saying run a marathon. I'm not saying go out and buy new shoes. I'm just saying think about the only instrument you have, and that's really just your body and your mind, that you bring to the table every single day. Take care of it. Too often, especially when people find success, that doesn't become important, and it should be very important and kind of at the forefront. This is daily. You got to do this. So figure out something, even if it's just going to the park and taking a 5-minute walk, and then you're building up to an hour-long walk at the end of 21 days. Perfect. Great. Good for you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you got to think of it and go do it. Meditate. Now, I'm not Mother Teresa. I'm not the Dalai Lama. I'm not Billy Graham. I'm none of those things. I'm Jason Carter. And I can't tell you what that means. So in other words, I'm not going to tell you that it's prayer. I'm not going to tell you that it's sitting down, crossing your legs and chanting a mantra. It could be something just as simple as sitting down every day and taking a minute and focusing on those things that are important, looking at your time blocking, getting centered, and then put it down. Do a brain dump, get that stuff out of your head, and then just have a moment for you. Things come fast. And when you really get moving and grooving in this industry, things start to come faster and faster. And you've got to be able to manage that. The last thing on your 21-day challenge is you got to do a random act of kindness. The key thing is to not tell anybody. This is not for self-gratification. This is not for anybody to know about. It's just for you to do. I'm a firm believer in what you put out there will come back. You can call that karma. You can call that, the spirit. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But you got to do it. Put something good out there every single day. The world needs it, and you need it more than you know. Write that down, though. Write down what you did. If it was raining and you ran over, you were out getting groceries after you left the office on the way home, and you got your umbrella and held it over a little old lady just to walk her to her car at the grocery store. Great. You held the door for somebody. Or you do something that's even more grandiose. That's wonderful, but no one should know. And you should write that down. A lot of what I've found in managing my cash flow in my business is also very apropos to managing my cash flow in my personal life. If I take care of the key things in life, right, everything else works out. There's no reason, though, to go out and buy a new desk or anything fancy like that. There's no reason to have a big day and think you have to spend your money. You see, you have to teach yourself what you're going to teach your clients. It's all about budgeting. It's all about understanding that if you are your business, you have to invest back into your business. You want the best return on that investment, of course, and you have to better yourself. Before I go to the next slide and start to kind of wrap up, I want to tell you what that means. I believe wholeheartedly that if you want ROI and you want that best self and you want to be a true success in this industry, it's not done alone. I'm so thankful you're here, you're watching, you're listening, you're learning, but you got to understand there's so much more out there. I've already given NAFA the credit for my success. I started, I kind of mavericked my way into the business. And NAFA is what gave me the mentorship that I needed to make the money I wanted to make. NAFA also, through that, gave me some amazing memories. And I look forward to continuing making those every time I get an opportunity to be in a NAFA group, whether it's a regional NAFA meeting, a local NAFA meeting, a state NAFA meeting, flying to DC for the congressional conference, going to the national meeting. This year will be in Orlando. I'm going to be there. It's when I didn't have the money, I still made the time to make the money to get myself there. And things started to work out. You see, your best self in this industry is actually going to come out of that NAFA membership. I promise you. You're going to meet people that you will make lifelong friends with. You're going to meet people that will better you. You're going to meet people that will challenge you. Sometimes to remember that you have to chop your own wood. And you're going to meet people that will help you hold yourself accountable. I believe everything in life that is applicable to your cash flow maximization, your practice management, your time management, it is all very simply about one word: accountability. And to hold yourself accountable. So you can make all these great plans, but if you're not going to follow through with them and be accountable to yourself first, then there's no reason. Having a peer group of fellow NAFA members helps you, though. And then you have all these other amazing opportunities in the Young Advisors team. You have opportunities when we have meetings. You have opportunities when we have webinars and conference calls. But another opportunity is simply going to that NAFA website, www.nafa.org. They have a professional development section that is out of this world. You can get in there, you can look at professional development courses and learn about anything you're curious about getting better at. Remember, you're never great, you're good trying to get great. Practice doesn't make perfect, but it does make you better. The other thing in professional development that you'll find out is Lilly, the Leadership in Life Institute. And then you can go on from that to you'll better understand yourself, and then that'll help you understand others. And then you can go on to getting designations such as the LUTCF or the LACP, brand new designation through NAFA, LACP, Life and Annuity Certified Professional. You have to constantly be learning. You have to constantly be growing. Leaders are readers. If you look behind me, this is my desk at my office. Let's see, I got screens up everywhere, but I've constantly got books I'm going to because you got to keep chopping your wood. If you only chop wood once, your fire is going to burn out. You've got to have more and more wood to put on that fire to keep it going. So with that being said, let me tell you about these chickens here. There was a boss chicken called a rooster, and he had the craziest idea you've ever heard. He decided he wanted to teach chickens how to fly. Now, some of you may think that's strange because you don't see flocks of chickens flying around up there come spring and fall like you see geese. But stick with me. So one morning, the rooster says, cock-a-doodle-doo! I'm going to teach you all how to fly. So chickens line up, get in line, and we're going to start flapping our wings as hard as we can. And they flap their wings as hard as they can, but they don't fly. The chicken says, hey, Mr. Rooster, what's going on? And Mr. Rooster says, don't worry about it. We're going to come back here, same time, same place tomorrow. And I've got another plan. So the morning comes, the rooster says, cock-a-doodle-doo! And he says, all right, this time we're going to run and we're going to flap our wings. So they start running around and flapping their wings, and nothing happens. And the chickens say, Mr. Rooster, what's going on here? And he says, don't worry about it. Just come back, be consistent, same time, same place tomorrow. So they all show back up and they all line back up, and the rooster has woken everybody up with his cock-a-doodle-doo. And then he says, all right, I need your best effort today. I want everything you got. Get whatever else is in your head out of your head. Take this time, this specific time, and let's manage it. I want you to flap your wings as hard as you possibly can. And I want you to run faster than you've ever run. And sure enough, those chickens are flapping and running and flapping and running, and they take off. And they start soaring over the farm. They're looking down at the silos and the pigs and the cows and the horses and the pond and the hills off in the distance. And they fly all over that whole day. And then towards the evening, they come back down to the farm and they land. And you know all those chickens still talk about today is the one day that they flew. Here's the thing. You're completing your 4th week of the ambassador program. You've learned that NAFA definitely has more to offer than you can find out in 4 weeks. You've learned some practice management tips. You've learned some marketing tips. You've learned some time management tips. You've learned some cash flow tips. You've learned a lot. But if you don't take that and apply it every single day, you're not going to fly. But if you'll feel convicted and you'll become a member of NAFA, we help with that. If you'll get convicted and you'll remember that every single day, just like that rooster told those chickens, you got to flap your wings as hard as you can, and you got to run as fast as you've ever run. You'll soar. You'll soar up above that farm, and you'll continue to do so, because the one thing I don't want you to be is a chicken. Don't be the chicken that flew one day and then talks about that one day. Be the eagle that flies every day. Be the you in our industry that, listen, not just our industry needs, but I'll tell you, if America is more financially stable, the world is better off. So that means if you are helping NAFA to help America become more financially stable and secure, the world is a better place. It's a big task. See, I'm asking you to join us in saving the world. That may seem kind of big and grandiose, but when you think about it, it's true, and it's meaningful, and it's relevant. So please don't be a chicken. I've included a little bit of my information down here. If you would like any of the practice management stuff we've got, if you want to look at, this is a multi page, it's a weekly planner that we use here in my practice. I'm happy to share all of my stuff with you. You can put your own logos on it and do what you want with it. If you want a copy of that 20-point system from MDRT, send me an email. My cell phone number's on there. My office phone number's on there. Get in touch. I hope, though, it's not just a phone call or an email. I hope to see you either at Congressional Conference here in May, in Washington, D.C., or see you in Orlando, Florida in September for our NAFA National Conference called Performance Plus Purpose. You already have a purpose. You found what is not just a career, it's a calling. And now you're trying to figure out how to perform better with the purpose you found. You've got my information. I'm happy to serve you in any way I can. And I'm also looking forward to seeing you soon at some NAFA event right after you become one of our newest members. So that's all I've got for you. I guess we'll open it up to a Q&A now.
All right, thanks so much, Jason. Absolutely. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them by unmuting yourself, or you can also type it in the chat box and I can.
Hey, buddy, good job.
Hey, how are you, Mark?
I'm perfect.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, quick question. Do you
Yes, sir.
do you have a set time do you see clients? every day at 10, 1, and 3, or do they vary throughout your day depending upon what your clients' needs are?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or how do you
I'll
teach
say
it?
it depends on the client, honestly, but I have a set time with the people in my office where they know I'm available at these times to have appointments set for me, and then they set those appointments. So our office opens at 9 o'clock. We have kind of depending on the day, if it's a Monday or a Friday, we kind of sit, we pray in the week and kind of get ourselves going. Then at 10 o'clock, we start taking our first clients. And my calendar is very similar to that. They know not to book a lunch because that's my responsibility, is to make sure I'm not wasting time just to put food in me. I do have certain clients, though, that I see on after hours if they need it. And then I'll see them even on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon if that's the only time they can come in. So it's kind of the way I believe the way we have it worded is, 9 to 5 after hours and weekends by appointment. So.
Sounds good. Yeah, some people do it 10:30, 1:30, 3:30 every day, and some do it differently. So just curious how you did it. And then last question is, do you see all of your clients in your office specifically, or do you go to your clients' businesses or homes to meet with them as well?
Great question. So we try to see most of our clients here if it's doable. So we've got a nice conference room up front we call it a client service center. So there's a big snack bar and coffee machine and a soda refrigerator and a water refrigerator and a microwave and some even popcorn, all kinds of stuff up there. So we try to do that there in the conference room. If it's a private consultation, I'll do it if it's my private client back here in my office. But I do go to clients' houses, and especially if it's a business, I go to them, plain and simple. I'm not going to ask a business to come to me. I got to bring the mountain to Muhammad, as they say in those cases. And I have disabled clients. One lady I'm thinking of specifically, she's blind. She would have to have somebody bring her, but we meet there at her house. She has a service animal. That's what they're called now. I'd call it a CNI dog, and that dog's my best friend. It's there at the door waiting, and it can even let me in the door. And then I walk back to where she is, and I see her there at her house. So I think, as I've heard before, the saying "semper gumby," that means be rigidly flexible.
Very good. Thanks, dude.
Thanks for your questions, brother. Good to see you.
Ditto.
Anybody else have anything for Jason?
Okay. Well,
yeah, Jason, thanks again. Great work. Everybody, make sure you eat the frog. Have a good Thursday.
Right on. Eat that frog and don't be a chicken.
That's right.
I look forward, to getting to meet some of y'all in person. So don't be a stranger. If you need any of the stuff I've got, like I say, the best stuff I have came from my associations in NAFA. It's not like I had to reinvent the wheel. There's no need to do all that. So reach out and we'll get it to you. Be happy to.
And if you'd like to reach out to Jason, do so. And if you need his contact info, you lose the number or the email or anything, reach out to me at recruitment@nafa.org, and I'll be happy to pass it along. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.